Hello and welcome to this candidates forum for the Massachusetts 11th Middlesex District State Representative. The primary election will be held on Tuesday, September 3rd. I'm Jen Adams, the news director of Newton News at NewTV, and I will serve as the moderator today. This forum is co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Newton and is co-produced with NewTV. This forum is being recorded on Thursday, June 27, 2024. The 11th Middlesex District in Massachusetts is one of 160 legislative districts included in the lower house of the Massachusetts General Court. The 11th Middlesex District represents approximately 44,000 people living in Newton. In Ward 1, Precincts 2 and 3, Ward 2, all 4 precincts, Ward 3, Precincts 1, 2, and 3, Ward 4, all 4 precincts, and Ward 7, Precincts 2, 3, and 4. The League is responsible for communicating with candidates and organizing the format, questions, and the moderator. NewTV's primary role is facilitating production and dissemination of the forum. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, multi-issue organization that encourages informed, active participation of citizens in government. The League does not support or oppose candidates or political parties. No League members involved in this forum, including the planners, moderator, and timekeeper, are endorsing either of these candidates for office. Members of the League of Women Voters of Newton may become candidates for public office. While the League encourages their members to become politically active, there are specific procedures in place to ensure the integrity of their forums and fulfill their commitment to being a nonpartisan organization that does not support or oppose any political party or candidate. Please be assured that all efforts are made to create a wall between the candidates and the League forum planning. This barrier specifically includes no access to forum questions. If you have a concern about this, please do not hesitate to contact the League at info@lwvnewton.org. In the 11th Middlesex District, there are 2 candidates running in the Democratic primary, Mr. Alexander Jablon and Miss Mah Sangiolo, who are both at this forum. And in the Republican primary, there is 1 candidate running, Mr. Vladislav Yanovsky, who is also at this forum. There are no candidates running for this office in the Libertarian or other parties. In Massachusetts, voters who are not enrolled in one of the 3 registered parties may choose to vote in any of the party primaries. Voters enrolled in a party may only vote in that party's primary. You may change your party affiliation before August 24th. We will now meet the candidates in alphabetical order. Alexander Jablon is a Principal Finance and Operations Auditor at RTX, formerly known as Raytheon, and has lived in the 11th Middlesex District for 23 years. Mah Sangiolo is a Supervising Consumer Specialist, Housing Team Lead with Consumer Advocacy and Response Division of the Public Protection and Advocacy Bureau at the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office. She has lived here for 29 years and is a former Newton City Councilor. Vlad Yanovsky is a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, runs a nonprofit career school for adults, training aspiring healthcare professionals for the workforce. He is a clinical educator by training and holds multiple licenses in the medical field. He is also an inventor with successful patents and has lived in Newton for 25 years and in the 11th Middlesex District for 14 years. The candidates received the format and ground rules earlier. Here is an overview. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to introduce themselves. We'll then move on to a series of questions directed at the candidates, which will alternate between them starting in alphabetical order. Response time will be 90 seconds. There will be a timer running in order to inform the candidates how much time remains as each candidate speaks. Stop will be displayed when the time is up, and candidates are expected to stop speaking when completing their sentence. As moderator, I will decide if there is a need for a rebuttal. Questions were collected in advance from the public via email and selected by the League of Women Voters. Questions will be addressed to all candidates and will apply to issues or qualifications for their particular office. We will ask as many questions as time allows, sometimes combining similar questions, striving to cover a variety of topics. We will finish with a 60-second closing statement from both candidates in reverse alphabetical order. We will now begin with the 90-second opening statement from each candidate. Alex, you are first.
Thank you. My name is Alex Jablon, and I am a pragmatic progressive that's running to become the next representative for the 11th Middlesex District. So great to be here in Newton, the town that really made me who I am. I grew up here. I went through K through 12. I got my bar mitzvah at Congregation Dorche Aesthetic. I went through Little League, went to Cabot's Ice Cream after a ball game, all the good stuff. After I graduated from Newton North High School, I headed off to Indiana University where I studied finance and business law and ethics. These two places are really where I found my sense of community and where I found a passion for public service. After college, I was recruited by Raytheon for the Finance Leadership Development Program. That brought me to DC, to Arizona, and then finally back to Newton in June of 2020. This gave me certain skills, managing very large budgets, providing oversight, being able to do 10% more with 10% less. And these are the skills that I hope to bring to the Massachusetts General Court if elected. The Massachusetts General Court has not been working for many years. I hope that I could be a new voice and bring more progressive ideas to the General Court in order to work better for a better Newton. More recently, I was appointed to the Finance Audit Committee for the City of Newton, and I asked the opportunity to earn your vote on September 3rd. Thank you very much, and I really look forward to answering the questions tonight.
Thank you very much, Alex. Amy, your 90 seconds for your opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Mah Sangiolo, and I'm running for the 11th Middlesex District to be your next state representative. I am an attorney. I work for the Attorney General's office as a consumer advocacy specialist in housing, and I am a former city councilor. This is a critical time for us as we face many challenges. We have a climate crisis, a housing crisis, skyrocketing healthcare costs, inadequate funding for our schools and public transit, and attacks on our civil liberties. But I believe that I have the experience and the leadership skills to address these issues head on. What I bring to the table is that I have deep experience in the legislative process, having served for the city for more than 20 years. As I held leadership positions and led on many issues, including protecting our trees and demanding more from developers to increase our affordable housing units. In addition, I have a proven track record of providing excellent constituent service and also providing good communication and transparency. As your state representative, I will work on bold, aggressive climate legislation. I will work on policies to be direct and intentional about creating more affordable housing opportunities that are accessible to all. I will ensure that we have more investment in our public transit system and public education, and I will be your advocate at the State House. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Vlad, your 90-second opening statement, please.
Thank you so much. Super excited to be here. Wonderful forum. Thank you to the League of Women's Voters and for NewTV for hosting in this wonderful location. This is absolutely beautiful. I didn't expect it when we came here, but this is absolutely great. Love it. I'm an immigrant to the United States, came here in 1981. In 1986, I joined the military, served 8 years with it, and after that embarked on my career in healthcare and education. I have trained tens of thousands of people to become better stewards of their own finances. I have propelled many people into a higher income tax bracket, and am very proud to do so. At the present time, for the last 22 years, I've been running the company that I had created, and I'm proud to say that I make a $2 million a year payroll on a bi-weekly basis. Many people depend on me for their daily bread, and many more count on me to provide them with the education that they need. I bring to the table a viable conservative alternative to the failed liberal policies that have brought the state down to its knees, financially, fiscally, any which way you slice it. Crime is up, illegal immigration up, all sorts of crazy things going on in our communities. I believe in homes rather than housing. I believe in people keeping more of their money, and this is my intention when it will be my priority to support our first responders, to support our community, and to make sure that we get to keep more of our money and increase our personal security. Thank you.
Thank you, Vlad. The first question will be directed first to Amy, and you have 90 seconds to respond. So here it is. On issues where there may be a conflict between what your position is and what the majority of your constituency might want, how would your vote balance those competing interests?
So thank you for that question. One thing that has been a real tenet for me is to make sure that I am inclusive in the stakeholders for whatever particular issue there is. I will meet with them, I will meet with organizations and be informed by their positions so that I can make a true evaluation to balance the interest of myself versus the interest of my voters and my constituents. I think that's a tenet that I have continued to use throughout my service on the City Council, and I will continue to do that if elected as your state rep.
Thank you, Amy. Vlad, would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
Sure. On issues where there may be a conflict between what your position is and what the majority of your constituency might want, how would your vote balance those competing interests?
Thank you very much. I don't believe in conflicts. I believe in opportunities for successful collaboration, while hoping to have people, my constituents, see things through my prism of the way I look at finances and personal liberties and so on and so forth. So my goal is to bring consensus with my particular, not necessarily my particular twist of the situation, but based on the Founding Fathers and our Constitution, which was formed right over here. Our Massachusetts Constitution is very similar to the U.S. Constitution. I want to go back to the founding principles that made this state the cradle of liberty. So, once again, opportunities rather than conflicts.
Thank you, Vlad. Alex, you now have time to respond to the same question. You have 90 seconds. Would you like me to repeat it?
I'm all set. Thank you, though. So I think that, there are absolutely going to be times where there might be a conflict there, but I think the key here is that this is a House of Representatives. There are 44,000 constituents in the 11th Middlesex District, and ultimately, as a representative democracy, you have to represent the people of that constituency. Yes, there are people that probably will vote more on the conservative side, people more on the liberal side. There's absolutely no case in which you can satisfy everyone. But the thing is that we go by majority rule, and I think that we really have to listen to the people of the district, something KCON has done really, really well. You have to be transparent with people. So that's something that we haven't seen in state government as much over the years. So I really would want to be as open and honest as possible, meeting with constituents as much as possible, lending an ear, and really keeping my finger on the pulse as much as possible. I face a lot of issues that some other candidates may not. I'm a renter. The cost of living has definitely hit me hard. I love this city, and I want to represent the people as best as possible, and I vow to do that. On times where we may disagree, I want to be open and honest about that, because again, there are going to be times that those conflict, but at the end of the day, you have to be open and honest with your constituents, and that's something that I vow every day to do.
Thank you. The second question is directed first to Vlad for his 90-second response, and here is the question for you. The Common Start Coalition is trying to push legislation to achieve universal, affordable, high-quality early care and education, or ECE. However, funding either through federal relief dollars or surplus state funds is neither stable nor sustainable. What are your thoughts on ensuring reliable funding solutions?
Thank you so much for this question. Funding ultimately must come from the interested parties. I don't believe that the funding for such organizations must come from the public dollars. I believe at some point in time, interested parties must get together and be able to find funding solutions themselves through grant writing or charitable contributions, and there's such thing. Not too many people are, not everybody receives full understanding of what their tax dollars go to. And therefore, people must understand that when you want to give something to somebody, you first have to take it away from somebody else. And with that in mind, I believe that only the interested stakeholders must work towards securing funding. That is my answer to this question.
Thank you, Vlad. Alex, please respond to the same question. You have 90 seconds. Would you like me to repeat it?
I'll take a repeat on this one.
Certainly. The Common Start Coalition is trying to push legislation to achieve universal, affordable, high-quality early care and education, or ECE. However, funding either through federal relief dollars or surplus state funds is neither stable nor sustainable. What are your thoughts on ensuring reliable funding solutions?
Yeah, I mean, look, as a finance person, a person that's managed budgets throughout his entire career, it's something that absolutely we can't just be depending on temporary money. But the thing is that education is one of the best long-term investments that we can have. It's something that, yes, we may not see the results overnight, but it's one of the best, as I said, long-term investments that we can make in our community and then Massachusetts, the Commonwealth as a whole. I think that we have to look at, number one, the efficiency of programs that we already have. Absolutely. I think on the conservative side, they love to talk about that. It normally means cutting programs. Here, I think it's really looking at what works and what doesn't, making sure we can divert resources in the best way. However, I think also there's tons of ways to generate new revenue. I think that there's not a lot of appetite right now in the general court to raise income tax, not what I'd be proposing. What I really propose is things like closing the loopholes. We just passed the Fair Share Amendment, which diverts money towards education and towards transportation. One of the proposals right now in the general court is that if there is someone that files jointly at the federal level, you better be doing that at the state level so that you're not skirting around the fair share threshold that we have. There are many different ways that we can raise other revenue. That's just one, but I think that we need to look at every avenue possible in order to make that investment in our kids, because as I said, one of the best long-term investments we can make.
Thank you, Alex. Amy, you have 90 seconds. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, it's okay. I think
Okay.
I'm all set. I am very proud that our governor has made it a priority and this administration has made it a priority to fund early child care as well as early pre-K because for our gateway cities, because it's very vital that we help our young parents and give them the ability to be able to work and contribute to our economic vitality. I believe that we should be looking not only to federal dollars to help fund this, but I also believe that we should utilize the additional monies that we have received from the Fair Share Amendment, because those are to be designated for education as well as transportation. I think those two pockets of money are good pockets and sources in order to help fund this program as well as make it sustainable. In addition, I would like to partner with employers to make sure that we create a trust fund that we can build over time so that we can reduce costs for folks all across the state.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on to question number 3, and Alex, we'll start with you with this one. In your opinion, what revenue source should the state be considering now that more and more vehicles are EVs and are no longer powered by gasoline, resulting in the gas tax income lessening each year going forward?
Look, I think that there's plenty of revenue sources that we can look at here. Absolutely, if you look at the budget, which I know Senate's working on right now, page 1, there's your revenue right there. It is definitely one of the highest sources of income that we have here. So absolutely, we have to change with the times. I think as on the Democratic side, we definitely are big proponents of EVs, but at the same time, absolutely, we have to make up that revenue source. So I did already talk about closing some of the tax loopholes, won't repeat myself there, but look, Representative Khan has been working for a long time on other revenue streams. I think one of them would be raising excise on alcohol. Obviously, we've legalized marijuana in 2016 with question 3. Definitely can look at things there. As well as I know Representative Khan has looked at increasing excise as well on sugary beverages, something that has affected the health of our kids and our adults within the Commonwealth. So there are certainly many different revenue streams we can look at. I think there's not a lot of appetite, as I said, on the income tax side. But I think that there's many other ways that we can look at raising that revenue or finding efficiencies. As I said, I'm an auditor. Finding efficiencies within the budget so that we can really maximize every single dollar that we have.
Thank you, Alex. Amy, the question goes to you. You have 90 seconds. Would you like me to repeat it?
Sure.
All righty. In your opinion, what revenue source should the state be considering now that more and more vehicles are EVs and are no longer powered by gasoline, resulting in the gas tax income lessening each year going forward?
So I believe that we should keep the sort of environmental funding sources to the environment. So I would propose putting a tax on carbon, and that means increasing the gas tax, not reducing it. It also means looking at our fair share amendment. Again, portions of that can be divided between transportation as well as education, and I think that is a more sustainable way to fund EV chargers as well as more to support our proliferation of EV cars.
Thank you, Amy. Vlad, the same question to you. You have 90 seconds. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, thank you.
Okay.
The only way to handle this matter is to stop the out-of-control spending. It's not about extra taxation on already overburdened people. Let the people keep more of their money. The state must stop the regressive taxation on the poor, which they continuously do with whether it's taxes on cigarettes, whether it's the taxes on alcohol. Okay, all of these, and sugary beverages. You know, dare I say, more enlightened people have stopped smoking and stopped consuming alcohol in large amounts. But the unfortunate part is that the society, layers of society that I am working with on a daily basis haven't seen the light quite yet. They keep smoking, they keep drinking sugary beverages, and it's their right to do. But we have taxed them into the poorhouse. The state must stop the profligate spending immediately, and therefore no further taxation, whether it's electric vehicles, whether it's carbon. We all produce carbon. The number one producer of carbon and the greenhouse gases happen to be plants. What, are we going to be taxing our grass soon? I don't think so. Driving electric vehicles means that someplace else somebody is burning coal. Let's stop the spending, let's stop the bleeding, let the people keep their money. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Moving on to question 4. Amy, we'll start with you with this one. We have discovered that PFAS, forever chemicals, are everywhere to the detriment of everyone on a long-term basis. What mitigation legislation would you support, knowing that it is very expensive to break up these chemicals?
So I support the ban on PFAS containing products. I think that I believe there's already a bill at the State House to do that. I am concerned about the proliferation of PFAS and the breakdown of plastics and microplastics through our environment, getting into our air and getting into our water streams. I am very concerned about the use of artificial turf. I have a record of being against the installation of artificial turf, as they have been known to contain PFAS-containing products. I also am concerned about the proliferation of water bottles and other plastics that contain PFAS products, and so I would support a ban and a phase out of these products in our state.
Thank you, Amy. Vlad, the question goes to you. You have 90 seconds. Would you like me to repeat it?
No. Okay. Until scientifically proven, the market should drive itself. So the PFAS chemicals, unless they're certainly beyond any reason of the doubt that there's a consensus that they do indeed cause the kind of a damage that they're said to be causing, then the market will take care of itself. I believe in market forces handling all of these issues. And of course, there's always the legal profession that keeps an eye on all of these things. This is how we have dealt with many issues with polluters in the past. They were sued, and when they lost, things changed. There are certain products that we no longer have because of various lawsuits that have taken place. The government had never solved any of these things. That's not the government's job. The government does a poor job doing just about anything. So therefore, until the market makes this determination, I'm not going to support bans prematurely.
Thank you, Vlad. Alex, the same question to you. You have 90 seconds.
I mean, these are the same arguments we heard over cigarettes in the early 1900s. You know, the scientific research isn't conclusive. Same thing that we've heard about climate change over a very long time now. I absolutely think that there is enough research in order to move forward here. And as a finance person, yes, I do believe in a free market, but there is regulation that's needed. I think 2008 was a great example of that, of what happens when we have unregulated forces in the market and the invisible hand doesn't always do its job. So I think that I agree with Amy here, and I do think that we should move forward with banning these harmful chemicals, because the thing is, by the time it's conclusive and we actually get to that point way down the line, it's already too late. Same thing's happening with climate change right now, and I really don't think that we can hesitate another day. So I agree with Amy on this one, and I think that we need to move forward.
May I?
You have 30 seconds.
Sure. I just want to address Vlad here. It's a public health issue. It's not just a sort of a taxation issue, or I mean, I understand your point about let the legal system deal with it, but we're talking about public health here, and the evidence is mounting every day about the dangers of PFAS chemicals in our system. People going through lawsuits are dying. I'm not saying just from the PFAS, but just in general from old products, as Alex had mentioned, through cigarettes and tobacco use. We can't do that. We have to protect our kids. We have to protect our planet.
May I?
You have 30 seconds.
Thank you. Just because the evidence is mounting does not mean that there's conclusive conclusion to the fact that it's actually harmful or toxic. And in this particular case, we have gone through many instances when politicians have gone half-cocked and created policies that were counterproductive. I don't support that. Many things have happened in the world when politicians went ahead of themselves and ahead of the science.
Can I request 10 seconds?
You have 30.
Okay, even better. I'll make it quick here. We can't even get 5 out of 5 dentists to agree on which toothpaste to recommend. So if you're waiting for 100% of people to agree, it's going to be way too late at that point. So I again have to disagree respectfully with you, Steve.
That's great. I love disagreements. Hopefully we can reach consensus at some point.
All right, we're moving on to question number 5. Vlad, we'll start with you on this one. Compliance with the MBTA Communities Act enables by right development near transit, but that does not by itself produce the housing needed to support a thriving Massachusetts economy. What specific additional measures will you support to advance housing production in Massachusetts?
I oppose housing. I support homes. I believe the zoning laws on the books already provide ample opportunities to build within the confines of safety and what we can afford to have here in our district. We cannot go above what we currently have with the school system that's going to be overloaded if we build the so-called housing. I'm not into housing, homes. Newton can sustain what it has. There's absolutely no need for us to provide housing. We're not obligated to do so, and I don't support that at all.
Thank you, Vlad. Alex, the question goes to you. You have 90 seconds.
I'll take a repeat.
Sure. Compliance with the MBTA Communities Act enables by right development near transit, but that does not by itself produce the housing needed to support a thriving Massachusetts economy. What specific additional measures will you support to advance housing production in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, obviously it's probably the number one issue right now. I think when I knock on doors, I hear parents all the time talking about they just want their kids to be able to afford to move back. I hear seniors that are on fixed incomes that are scared that they're going to be priced out of the area that they're in and have to move down to another state. So it's absolutely vital that we address this issue. I think absolutely zoning has part way to do with it, obviously up to the municipalities. I think increasing incentives for more mixed use and multifamily zoning, absolutely, both on the developer side and municipality to change the zoning laws are good. But look, the Communities Act was only passed a couple years ago. We just reached safe harbor last year. We have this tendency to look at things at such a short-sighted manner. We have to take time for these things to be able to develop, but also we need to look at ways that we can really increase the supply. It's happening too slowly. You know, if you look at Cambridge, like what they did with the AHO, the Affordable Housing Overlay, they had something like 700 something new 40B units the other year, when the year before they were having like 50 units a year. So the time is now. There's no perfect way, but the thing is we have to act, and we have to act now. So there's many different ways that we can go about it, but the only thing that we can't do is do nothing. So we need to continue on the progress that we're making.
Thank you, Alex. Amy, the question to you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Oh, I think I'm okay. Look, housing is a human right, and if you believe in that tenant, then you have to do everything that you can to be intentional about creating truly affordable housing, middle-income housing, and housing at all price points that is accessible and safe for everyone. You talked about the MBTA Communities Act. I think that was approving about 8,300 or so units, and we know that all it did was permit the zoning for it, not necessarily the building of it. We have 2,300 units in the pipeline currently that has been approved through our city council. I support the governor's proposal, that $4 billion bond bill that had been amended by the House, I think to 6.2, and I forget how much the Senate just passed for, but I support having ADUs by right. I think that's a great way. The city has already adopted it, but if we can do that statewide, even better. I think let the communities figure out how to implement that on by themselves. I was disappointed that neither the House nor the Senate approved the real estate transfer tax. I think that's a great way to raise revenue so that we can put it towards building more housing and more truly affordable housing. And I believe that we should be using state-owned surplus land to create more housing opportunities. Again, my concern are the folks that I work with on a daily basis at the Attorney General's office who don't have choices. We need more truly affordable housing that is safe and accessible for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
May I have 30 seconds?
You certainly may.
About 100 years ago, this amazing ship sank. It was called Titanic. Many people died because of what was said was absence of adequate numbers of lifeboats. So the government stepped in and mandated more lifeboats on the ships. What people don't recall or don't talk about is that there was a sinking of another ship which capsized due to having too many lifeboats. This is one of those interesting stories about government overreach and building housing where homes are built. Okay, I want to tell you that housing by right exists in prisons and North Korea. We always have choices where we live.
Thank you, Bud. All right, moving on to question number 6. Alex, we'll start with you with this one. Tens of thousands of young adults have left Massachusetts and are choosing to live in places where housing is more affordable. What should the state government do to help prevent more young adults from leaving the state?
Well, I think, similar to the last question, it comes down to housing. There's so many people that are my age that want to move back to Newton, or at least just the Commonwealth in general, and aren't able to afford to. I think, as Amy mentioned, the bond bill, these type of things are a great start, but these are good foot forward, but I think that we still need to do more because, back in the day, I owned my own small business. When I was in high school, I resold, expensive rare sneakers. There's 5,000 people that want sneakers that there's only 100 pairs of. If you then make 150 pairs, that doesn't do anything to the price. If you then increase that to 4,000 pairs of shoes, that starts to have a significant effect. We need more abundant housing, as Amy said, in all price points. We need more market rate because at the end of the day, if you increase supply, you get to meet demand. It's a principle of economics and of finance, and that's what we need to do. We need to be able to increase supply here, make sure that young people have the opportunity to buy starter homes, to rent in the neighborhoods that they want to rent in, and create more economic opportunity for all to be able to afford to live here if they want to.
Thank you, Alex. Amy, same question to you.
So before I get to the question, I just wanted to say that I disagree with Alex about the market rate housing. We have plenty of market rate housing, and we can't rely on the market to bring down the supply because you'd have to build hundreds of thousands of units before it trickles down to the people who truly need it. And that's the middle income folks and the folks at the lower end of the spectrum. So regarding out-migration, I'd say that there are 2 studies that looked at this. It was the Boston Indicator study, and there was the Questrom Business School study who looked at out-migration, and they identified that the people between the ages of 24 to 36, or it's 26 to 34, I forget. But they're mostly white, middle-aged, higher income folks that are leaving. And the Boston Indicator's report did not ascribe any particular reason for that out-migration, but they did suggest that it could be not only the cost of housing and the housing cost burden on these folks, but also because of specific jobs that are not available here, and other reasons due to their lived experiences that they were not able to measure for their study. What the Question Business School study did look at, and they identified that not only 26 and 34-year-olds were moving out, but also 54 and up were leaving. And that could be because of high income tax. It could be not just healthcare costs, but also to housing burdens. So I think the state should look at the whole spectrum. Look at our income tax structure. You know, this Fair Share Amendment has been great. Look at creating more jobs and working with universities to create that pipeline, and look at building more housing supply. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Vlad, the same question to you. You have 90 seconds.
Thank you. I don't think the state can and should do anything about out-migration, except one thing: let the people keep more of their money, and if they want to stay, they can stay. There are plenty of affordable places to live in Massachusetts, so much so that it would cost them a fraction of their income to move. People have freedom to move wherever they want to. They want to stay in Massachusetts, they can leave. If market adjusts, they will come back. As on a state level, I don't believe the government can do anything to prevent people from leaving. And those people who wish to leave, more power to them. Let them make a different place a better place to live.
Thank you. Yes, Alex, you may have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I just want to address some of the things that Amy brought up. You know, I'll bring it back once again that we look at things very incrementally. I think, you know, we do need more abundant housing, so that does include market rate housing. You know, you have to have a very significant effect, just like I said, with my sneaker business in order to have that positive effect. But also, you know, the study that you mentioned, I know the study that you're talking about, one of the things it doesn't look at is people that it does look at out-migration, but it also doesn't look at people that want to move to Massachusetts and aren't able to afford to, and that is a large, significant number of people.
All right, moving on to question number 7. Amy, we'll start with you. This is a long one. Massachusetts has passed a policing reform bill that creates an independent civilian-led commission to standardize their certification, training, and decertification of police officers, bans the use of chokeholds, limits the use of deadly force, creates a duty to intervene for police officers when witnessing another officer using force beyond what is necessary. However, when police are called upon to resolve issues with people suffering a mental breakdown, they still use deadly force. What steps would you implement to improve on this form of response?
So thanks for that question. When I was on the City Council, I was one of the first to propose that our police department include a social worker to ride around in their patrol cars to respond to those particular mental health breakdowns. I think it's very important. I think we need more social workers and mental health providers within our police force. There obviously needs to be more training and more supports for our police officers. Their intention is good. What they are doing is trying to keep us safe. But there are instances where use of force is not needed, and that's why I support having more social workers and mental health providers to be part of the whole solution to address these instances. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Vlad, the question to you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No.
Thank you.
The police department is not a social work agency. They're not there to provide mental health services. They're there to protect the innocent or the weak against the strong and the people with malintentions on their mind. And therefore, the change to the police department and to the use of their deadly force, I would encourage the police department to invest in more specific de-escalation training, even though they've done a magnificent job with that. And of course, beefing up their force in such a way that people have proper respect for police. People used to be intimidated by a certain size policeman many years ago who walked the beat. And many crimes were prevented just by the presence of a powerful police force. Social workers are not going to do it. We've tried social workers in police cars all over the United States. It's been a catastrophic failure. No, police need to make immediate decisions. De-escalation sometimes works, many times it doesn't, and use of deadly force is absolutely necessary. Making police have an affirmative duty to act is probably the wrong thing. Nobody's going to go for that. Okay? They have lives too. They need to defend themselves as well. They don't have to sacrifice their lives for you. That's my answer.
Thank you, Vlad. Alex, the question to you.
Yeah, Steve, you make an excellent point. They're not social workers, so that's why I think that police officers. I support the police and Chief Carmichael and the NPD, but I think that their resources could be better used towards situations where they have to intervene, and for more mental health crises, we can have other experts intervene in those circumstances. I think that absolutely makes sense. I think the number one thing that I've seen that's worked in Newton as someone that grew up here from the time that I was born is installing trust. I mean, I remember Officer Panica coming in, doing Halloween safety with us, in the schools. I remember, Panica very specifically, in high school, things like that, knowing everyone's name, kids that were getting in trouble, kids that weren't, and really being there as a resource. It's instilling trust within the community. I mean, that's something that we've lost in other communities. I think it's something that we do quite well in Newton, and we should continue to do. They live here, they're our neighbors, they're our friends, and when you have that mutual trust between both the citizens and the police, it's a two-way street. But when you establish that sort of trust, I think that's what ends up making, for a stronger police force. I support the reforms that you had mentioned, but I think, again, really it's a lot about relationship building here.
Thank you, Alex. Yes. Amy, you have 30 seconds.
Okay. I just wanted to add that I'm proud to have received the endorsement from the police union. I was proud to attend their ceremony welcoming the new officers to our police force. I completely agree that we need more de-escalation programs. I think that's great. I would add that to the toolbox of all the reforms that you have mentioned. And I believe that the police are going out to the neighborhoods, which is great. They're going to be starting to do that so that people will get to know their officers and have that relationship.
All right, we'll move on to question 8. Vlad, we'll start with you with this one. The Massachusetts Right to Shelter law guarantees temporary housing to families and those who are pregnant. Do you support the Right to Shelter law as it exists, or are you in favor of changes to it? How do you suggest that Massachusetts fund the increasing need under that law?
It's an interesting question. I do not support any kind of a law that stipulates a right to anything. Our rights are guaranteed and limited by the Constitution, and the governments in particular are limited by the Constitution. I don't think anyone has any of these rights. I do support, once again, allowing organizations to keep more of their money, and people keeping more of their money and being more charitable with their money. So we have seen this succeed in the United States in the late 1800s with tremendous number of charitable institutions and shelters and orphanages that had been built at the expense of the people who got to keep more of their money. The United States is a shining example of charitable giving. We have done so well when we were taxed less and got to keep more of our money. Look at all the museums. Look at all of the hospitals that were built around that time when people got to keep their money. And with that in mind, I don't support the government to have right to shelter or any other right that's not enumerated in the Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Vlad. Alex, same question to you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I'm all set.
Okay.
I mean, one thing that always bothers me with whenever we talk about asylum seekers and things like that is the amount of dehumanization. The fact that we always go to just putting them down as statistics. They're people. My mom's an immigration attorney. I had the great fortune to work in her office for a summer. And I think that absolutely, yes, the U.S. and Massachusetts have been a beacon of light of welcoming people, just as, the Statue of Liberty, kind of says, give me your poor, give me your weak. The things that we need is pretty great. I mean, we do have an overwhelmed system. I think we need comprehensive immigration reform that doesn't that's typically used by immigration attorneys to talk about making it easier for people to obtain work, to be able to allow for more legal immigration so that we can deal with the influx of people that are coming in. I know the House and Senate have been wrestling with this topic and with funding and everything like that. But at the end of the day, if people can't work, then yeah, they're gonna need help. They're gonna need shelter. I think absolutely we have to look into reforms here in order to make sure that we have the proper funding for it, and we can support all the people that are coming in that need our help. And I know that the House and Senate have been working diligently on doing that.
Thank you, Alex. Amy, the question to you. You have 90 seconds.
Sure. I mean, one of the great things about being part of the state is that we are welcoming. And I absolutely support the right to shelter law. I don't think that there are any changes that need to be made. Yes, we're seeing a more of an increase of people needing the shelter, and that's due to lack of our federal government moving forward with real immigration reforms, and that's what's needed. So I would turn to the federal government, just like our governor has been doing, and apply for our FEMA grants. I think she's applied for, somewhere in the tune of 300,000. It could be more to help keep it sustainable. I think the federal government owes that to us. I think that again, with more revenue raising through either an affordable housing trust, through the real estate transfer taxes, those can be used to provide more shelters. I think partnerships, particularly with our churches and other organizations, to make housing more available. In addition, we're going to need funding to support our programs that provide wraparound services, just as the governor's doing. Not only get people housed, but get people moving so they can move through the system by making sure, at least particularly for our the migrants that have been coming in, to make sure that they get their work authorizations, that they get their work permits, that they get their education and training, and partner with businesses so that they can move through the system, get the training that they need so that they can get the jobs and move out of the emergency shelter system. So that way we have room for everybody. That means we're going to need more affordable housing. So again, be intentional about creating more affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I?
Yes, you have 30 seconds.
Migrants, illegal immigrants, invaders. They have no business being in our district or the United States. The only thing that I would support is the one-way ticket back home. Respect the system. As a person who immigrated to the United States and risked everything to get here, I only support legal immigration. No housing for migrants. I support our police. All of this leads to more crime. I support our residents of our district who deserve safety and health. Thank you.
Yes, you may have 30 seconds.
This is the exact type of rhetoric that I was talking about during my statement. To calling people invaders that are just trying to find shelter from violence, from poverty, people that want to contribute to our society. That's how both sides of my family came to this country. And quite honestly, I think it's shameful to be reducing people down to just disgusting words like that.
Amy, you have 30 seconds.
I wholeheartedly agree with Alex. Steve, that is very offensive what you just said. I am so sorry that you said that. People are people. They are fleeing to this country because they are seeking asylum, because of the difficulties and dangers presented in their countries. We are a welcoming state. We need to continue to be a welcoming state, and we need to make sure that we provide the shelter that is needed. I went down to the border and saw kids held in detention camps. I know what it's like. So how dare you call them invaders?
Do I
All right,
have?
let's just end right there.
Okay.
This will be the last question. And Alex, we'll start with you. As a newly elected state representative, what committees would you want to sit on and why?
Yeah, great question. I mean, certainly I'd say Ways and Means as a finance person, very hard to get onto as a rookie. I definitely think I want to be able to use my expertise to the greatest extent possible. Things like post-audit and oversight. I'm an auditor. I think that we need more people with diverse experiences like Kay did when she came in as a psychiatric nurse. As an auditor, I think that we need more oversight over the money that we spend. We throw more and more money at the T. I'm a huge proponent of the T. We need more public transportation, but at the same time, we need to oversee these dollars, oversee these programs, make sure that they're working. that's my area of expertise, is audit, and with budgets. So quite frankly, I think that those are the areas that I could definitely make the most impact in. So there's definitely plenty of ones I think that could also be impactful, transportation, education, but when it comes down to it, I think that we need, instead of just having another lawyer or someone else like that within the general court, I think that we need people with diverse experiences to be able to bring more transparency and more dollars back to Newton. That's what I know how to do. I know how to bring money back in. I've been in the room for those difficult conversations during budgets. That's what I know how to do, and that's what I will do if elected.
Thank you, Alex. Amy, the question to you. You have 90 seconds.
So given my extensive experience and background on the environment and on environmental advocacy, I would like to be on the climate committee. And in addition, I would like to also consider being on the housing committee, given my experience working at the AG's office in housing. I thought those are the two top priorities for me. I'd also be interested in working on the committee for children's and families and people with disabilities, as I have had vast experience working with the disabled community, again, working with immigrants, seeking citizenship, but seeking waivers on their disability applications. So again, my experience on the environment, I've worked with the Sierra Club, the Container Recycling Institute. I've worked with various proposals to protect our trees with Mothers Out Front to get off gas and repair our gas leaks without replacing our gas lines. I think those are the bold and aggressive proposals that I would push forward if I'm on the Environment Committee. On housing, I'm looking forward to creating more tenant protections, because what I'm seeing in my work at the AG's office are people being evicted. We need just cause, we need right to counsel, and we need to make sure that tenants have more access to rental assistance programs. And also, I work with people facing foreclosure. I would absolutely like to push forward legislation that would encourage mediation and require mediation before people face foreclosure. So those are the top priorities.
Thank you very much, Amy. Vlad, question to you.
I will accept any assignment or assignments that I'm given, and in any capacity, I will work towards the reduction of state spending and allowing the people to keep more of their money. If I believe that the committee or a program is unnecessary, I will work towards its demise. That's my answer to this question.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now finish with a 60-second closing statement from each candidate in reverse alphabetical order. So Vlad, we'll begin with you.
Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I'm so glad to be here. It was a great debate. It was a great forum. Thank you so very much. I'd like to say in closing that I'm not ashamed or embarrassed by anything that I have said. I stand behind every word that I said tonight. As far as the people who have rights to be here, only people who have rights to be here who are here legally. The rest of the people here are breaking the law. They have no regard for our state. They have no regard for our country. They bring in fentanyl by kilograms, killing thousands of our people, young people. They infect people because they haven't been vetted properly at the border for various diseases. Having worked in the hospital for many, many decades, I have seen this firsthand. As a first responder, I have seen violence in New York, in Massachusetts. In closing, once again, not ashamed, not embarrassed. I'm here for the safety and the well-being of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Keep more of their money, keep their lives, their health, and well-being. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vlad. Amy, your 60-second closing statement, please.
So thank you for this opportunity to present ourselves. I will bring my deep experience and leadership skills as your next state representative to face the many challenges that we've already discussed. I have deep experience in the legislative process, getting things done as a 20-year city councilor. I have proven track record of delivering excellent constituent service, as well as providing good communication and transparency. Happy birthday, Fig City News, on your second birthday. Look, I'm a fierce advocate. I was excellent as your city councilor. I was effective. I was accessible and responsive, and I will bring that to the State House as your state representative. My name is Mah Sangiolo, and I ask for your support and your vote on September 3rd and again on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Alex, your 60-second closing statement, please.
This is fundamentally an election about the future of Newton and the future of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is not about the status quo and about the past. What you will get with me is you will get someone that's a fierce advocate for affordable housing, for abundant housing. For transparency, I signed the Voters Deserve to Know pledge. I challenge my opponents to do the same. We are really bad with transparency within Massachusetts. I hope to be able to bring transparency back to government and back to the district. It will be someone that's a huge advocate for public transportation and for affordable health care and equitable health care. A vote for me is not a vote for the status quo. It is absolutely a vote for progressive leadership. I love this city. The city gave me everything, and I hope to be able to give a fraction of that back. My name is Alex Jablon, and I ask for your vote on September 3rd to be able to become the next Democratic nominee for this seat. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. This brings us to the end of our forum for the 11th Middlesex District State Representative. Thank you to the candidates for your willingness to participate in our forum and for running for public office. We wish you all good luck with the election. I also want to thank NewTV and the League of Women Voters of Newton for providing this opportunity for the candidates to make themselves known. And thank you to the audience for all of the questions you sent. A recording of this forum is available on the NewTV and Newton League websites. The primary election is Tuesday, September 3rd, right after Labor Day. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you will not be able to get to the polls on September 3rd, you can vote absentee or early, by mail or in person, as well as voting on Election Day. For further information, visit the Massachusetts Secretary of Commonwealth website or call the Newton Election Office for details at 617-796-1350. Please be aware of the important deadline dates for this election. If you don't know where your polling location is, you can call the Newton Election Office or visit the city's website at newtonma.gov. On the Election Department page, you can verify your polling location. Be sure to check the Newton League website at lwvnewton.org for more information, for more local information in their online voters guide. The League of Women Voters online comprehensive voter guide, Vote for 11, will also be available. Today's forum is a co-production of NewTV and the League of Women Voters of Newton. Any use or reuse of this program requires the approval of NewTV and the League and must be shown in its entirety without any editing, only after the program initially airs on NewTV. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that promotes informed and active participation in government. The League does not support or oppose specific candidates or political parties. It does, however, take positions on and advocate for issues that it has studied. Membership in the League is open to all people. For more information, contact or visit lwvnewton.org. NewTV is Newton's award-winning state-of-the-art media center specializing in television production, training, and building community partnerships. It is Newton's primary source of locally relevant programming. Membership in NewTV is open for all Newton residents. For information, call 617-965-7200 or visit the website at newtv.org. The League of Women Voters of Newton in the 11th Middlesex District thanks NewTV for the streaming, the forum, and for handling the technical aspects of this forum. I'm Jen Adams for the League of Women Voters and NewTV, and I thank you for watching. And remember to vote on or before Tuesday, September 3rd. Participate in our elections because democracy is not a spectator sport.